Alright, hello everyone, Assalamualaikum. Welcome back to another episode of Sembang Santai Favorite, episode 6. I'm Zura Muzali, your host for today as usual. And today is a very special one. It's a World IoT Day. Woohoo! Alright, it's a big shout out to everyone out there who's passionate about sensors, connectivity and making the world smarter. Joining me is none other than the IoT man himself who breathes IoT every single day, our CEO and co-founder, Dr. Mazlan Abbas. Welcome, Dr. Mazlan.
Okay, thanks Zura. I think it's always a pleasure having this Sembang Santai today.
Yeah.
And yes, World IoT Day. Happy World IoT Day to all our friends, our partners, of course our what do you call that? Our developers and all the people that dream about IoT lah.
Nice, Doctor. So, Dr. Mazlan, before we dive in, let's talk about what IoT Day really means to us at Favorite. Why is this day very close to our heart?
No, I think IoT Day is more than just a date in our calendar.
Okay.
I always remember, for us in Favorite, it's a reminder of why we started.
Okay.
Why we started, Zura. I think since the day we started in 2017, it's a celebration of all the wins that we have.
Yep.
The early prototypes that we have built, and of course all the late night with our team that we're working on the code fixes, and of course the first customer that say yes. So
that
we always remember that. So it's always a moment for us to look back and ask, how far have we come? Do you think we have gone far?
Oh yes, definitely.
But I think most importantly is how far, where exactly that we want to hit next. That's the most important part.
Right, I love that, Doctor. So it's not just about technology; it's about people, impact, and its journey, right? So let's talk about the future, Doctor. What does Favorite hope to see in the IoT space in the next few years?
We want to see more real-world solutions. It's no longer in the era of building prototypes.
Yep.
We want to build IoT that really solve problems in areas like smart cities that we have been talking a lot for many years. We're talking about healthcare, agriculture, and of course in education also.
Alright.
And for us, we want to see the growth in our whole ecosystem of IoT. We want to see more partners, more developers, more startups that we can help building IoT using our Favorite.
Yes.
And maybe most of all is that we want to see Malaysia, like us, become a regional IoT leader.
Yeah.
And that has been spelled out in our National IoT Strategic Framework or Blueprint since 2014. We want to see Malaysia to be a regional hub, which we have our locally owned data, we own the platforms, and we have our own IoT innovations. That is what we want. We just don't want to bring in foreign solutions, but also building our own. That's key for us in building our, technology sovereignty.
Let's just celebrate our homegrown platform,
Yes.
right? Okay. So, Doctor, you've always said that no company can do IoT alone. So, why is partnership is such a big deal?
I think, Zura, you've got to understand that in IoT, it's never one company size or whatever fits all. It needs the whole value chain or the whole ecosystem.
Okay.
I give an example where we even want to build sensors or IoT devices. In that value chain, you require people who have the ability to provide the chipset.
Alright.
That is another chipset manufacturers, IC manufacturers. But the chipset doesn't stand on its own. These days, the people who design the chipset, they require people who can build into modules.
Okay.
So certain modules, for example, IoT module, card, communications module. But that module is insufficient because it's just only a board module.
Alright.
So you need another company, partner, who can build IoT device, a phone, a sensor, node. So that device requires the components like the modules and also the chipset inside that. So even the hardware requires partnerships together. Now we talk about connectivity. Do you think that the telco build coverage for 4G on its own? No. they require the whole infrastructure. For example, the transmission, the fiber. They need a partner in the fiber. Who puts the tower? So they need a tower partner. Who builds even the buildings, the cabin? They require people who builds the cabin. It's not the telco themselves build everything.
Right.
So you need, for example, the cloud platforms. People like us, we build the middleware, but we need a partner in the cloud. People who would like to, we want to put the middleware into the platform,
Right.
Into the cloud itself.
Yep.
If we want to put somewhere on enterprise, we need a partner who have hardware, computer, servers,
Yes.
and all that.
Yes.
So all of this require partnerships together. So no one company, we are not hardware provider. We don't design connectivity. So we need all of this to be there. So hardware manufacturers that can help us to integrate all the sensors, the software vendors who can plug into our platform. We need the system integrators, our partner, who can tailor our solutions, and of course our channel partners who really understands where the market going into. So if the market is, these are the people, the resellers, the distributors, they are the solutions providers. They are the people, is our partner. So these partnerships are not just nice to have. Actually, it's very necessary.
Okay. They're very significant though.
Very significant in the whole
ecosystem.
lah.
Yeah.
We can't have that.
Alright, cool. So, by the way, lately it feels like everyone is so obsessed with AI, doctor. Like chatbots, image generators, predictive tools. Has IoT been pushed aside? What do you think?
So it seems to be that way. AI is very visible nowadays. I'm using AI in a lot of my works. It is something very flashy, very trendy. Everyone talking about AI. Because you use AI, it gives instant results. It's quite simple. It's a solution, an app. But it also requires data. So AI without that kind of data, they can't be that intelligent. So it's very hungry for data. And where this data comes from, that's most likely is like IoT. So if AI is the brain, IoT is the nervous system.
Wow.
That's where the nervous system that brings blood to the brain. So if the brain doesn't have the blood, the oxygen, the brain will die lah.
No, don't die.
So no data from sensors, no AI can make prediction. So that's how important it is.
Okay.
So but we don't see that as a competition. We see that as something what we call a marriage, and we call this AIoT, artificial intelligence of things.
Nice, doctor. Alright, so let's dig into this idea of AIoT. What makes it so powerful?
So when you combine AIoT, it gives you more than just becoming reactive. Last time when we receive data, we look at the data and we react based on the data that we receive. So, but having AI inside there, it becomes more predictive. It can predict more. I give an example. Previously, if we just have monitoring, now with AI we can do better decision making. So in smart agriculture, for example, so agriculture you need sensor to be placed in the soil to capture the measurement of moisture, and then the AI will make prediction when exactly that you want to irrigate put water, more water. In factories, IoT become the sensors that can detect vibration changes.
For the machines,
For the machines, and then AI will tell you exactly if the machine is about to fail. So there is a certain threshold level or pattern when you see that the machine are shaking and it's about to break down. And then in cities, a lot of times we look at traffic, we cannot predict exactly whether the traffic is very jammed or not. So you need to detect the traffic flow, when and where exactly is going to be congested. So it can predict congestion before it happens. And maybe it can change the traffic light according to the pattern of the traffic. Today I've learned something new with Pak Ma, for example. Pak Ma have talked to us just now in a meeting. He mentioned that when he was in Shanghai, he get notification even from the app.
Right.
It can even know the traffic light in front of you, whether it's green, yellow, or red. So it gives that real-time information.
Yeah.
But then it also predicts you that if there's no traffic, it allows more vehicle to drive in the yellow lights, kan? Because it just know that there's no enough traffic in the other side of the lane and so on and so forth. It can advise you to drive this part, the lane, longer. So for us, I think it's just not smart technology. I think it's about AI giving us a way for us to be smarter in the way that we live lah.
Right, so we can be more intelligent lah.
We feel that we're intelligent, but actually AI augmented us and make us more intelligent lah. Seems to be very intelligent.
Thank you. So Doctor, who gets the biggest benefits from all this?
Everyone.
Yes, including me.
Yeah, everyone should benefit in AI. I mean, who doesn't benefit AI? They don't use their brain.
Oh my God!
It augmented the brain. Everyone must have a brain, right?
Yes.
So AI is the brain. So everyone should benefit this. For us, we see that businesses, when they implement AIoT, they will save money and become more efficient, decision making faster, intelligently, more accurate. The citizens now will see that they have better and enjoy better services.
And good visibility of as well.
Yeah, because
for certain things, like the traffic light that you mentioned just now.
Before when it rains, we know that it will predict it's going to be flood, so on and so forth. And for the government, I think, like you said, it's going to have better visibility. What's happening in real time.
Right.
People wants to predict whether the tree is going to fall down.
Yeah. Oh, that's a very interesting thing to learn.
Whether the pipeline is going to burst or blow up.
Yep.
So that something needs to be predicted before things happen. So I think there's a big issue that we can't ignore, that all of this require data sovereignty. Yeah.
Okay. And yes, Doctor, let's talk about that. Why is data sovereignty such a big deal?
Okay. I think we know that data is oil. And if all our data is stored and processed in other countries, basically we are exporting our intelligence. A big problem where people like us sell water and then we buy bottled water.
That sounds crazy.
Why can't we? We have our water and we have our bottled water.
Right.
Why we export oil, that's black oil, and then we import the petrol and all that, something that has been processed by other countries. What if they stop and we can't produce ourselves?
Don't be too dependent.
A lot of times people export bananas, but we import, the chips, banana chips, banana juice. All the processed part, they have been processed and make it more valuable. They receive bananas with very cheap, but they sell back
on the higher price.
Price. Wow. So what if that country stops producing it, and we only have very raw materials? So I think that is very important. So we need to have our own local platforms. We need to have our local clouds. We need more local control. But of course, we don't want to shut others. Our investment, get people to come into Malaysia. But we also must have the ability to protect what's ours. If the data belongs to us, we should protect. So we must make sure that our government must have very clear policies. Very clear policies of how to protect the data, how we want to use the data. They also must have a way to support the local players to ensure that we build the right digital infrastructure, the platform and all that, where it sits the data, and they must see technologies like AI and IoT are very strategic assets.
Okay.
You need a nervous system which is being owned by us, not others. We need to have the brain which is being owned by us, not others. So we must have that technology sovereignty.
So let's protect that.
Yes.
Well, anyway, that was a very powerful message, Doctor. So IoT Day is not just about technology. So it's about ownership, collaboration, and vision.
That was very powerful.
Right. So yeah, is there any comments?
So yeah, I think we like to open this to the audience, to the people who are listening to us,
Right.
To ask any questions for during our World IoT Day, and maybe we like to hear their thoughts about how to build a better better way of living and better way of working.
Right.
Yeah.
How to live smarter lah.
How to live. But let me ask you, Zura, what is your wish during our World IoT Day?
Wish terus macam gini. Of course, like just now was I mentioning, I mean, we want to feel intelligent as well with all these smart applications, right? Like what we have learned from Padma today. I actually quite amazed with whatever that he mentioned in China just now. Even you can actually see how what's the duration of the red lights or green lights or whatsoever, right? From the apps itself.
Yes.
It's crazily intelligent. So I don't need to ram myself.
No.
I know in front the traffic light is gonna wait for me another 2 minutes or whatsoever, so I can just take my time.
Yeah.
Take my own sweet time. No need to rush, Yeah. So I mean, we can actually plan our journey.
Yes.
Properly. No, not keep on rushing.
Yes.
Things. So yeah, I mean, all these smart things like what we have, our platform. You can do a lot of creative innovation and solutions, right?
Yes.
I really hope that one fine day, everything's on apps lah. Everything, every single thing. So it's gonna be really easy and efficient way of life.
Because we are seeing things in AI will not it will be here for many years to come.
Time, yep.
Yes, we have been moving from the generative AI, where we can generate contents. We are going to see more and more intelligence becoming AGI, artificial general intelligence, which is the intelligence is almost similar to the human, and later it will be much more better intelligence, more smarter than human being.
Wow.
So it will solve a lot of problems. People have been using AI for many things, helping them in their business. For example, like us, myself personally, it reduced a lot of manpower in terms of doing things. For example, having for marketing, for doing branding messages to help us, helping us in terms of giving some ideas, bouncing ideas, and so on and so forth. And even Sam Altman mentioned that with AI, in fact, it will help a lot of startups becoming better in making business. You see more people building startups, and because last time you need more people to build your own companies, but with this, with a handful of tools that you have on AI, it will definitely grow the company faster.
Right.
So AI is going to be here for many years to come. It will break through in terms of technology for healthcare, physics, and so on and so forth. That will also spill over to creating new things. For example, healthcare, breakthrough in healthcare, you can identify cancer much better, more accurately. When you talk about physics, you talk about people who's traveling to space and all that, they will know how to calculate better in terms of transportation, and it's unlimited. So you just imagine when you have that augmented power in your head. At one time, you always depend on someone else to help you. You need times to read more information, literature review to make a conclusion. But now with AI, it can simplify everything.
Right.
So
you can summarize even.
Summarize everything in just within seconds, minutes. It's very short time.
It's really powerful.
It's very powerful. But like I said, I think AI requires the data.
Right.
We are here we have our own platform that's been called Application Enablement Platform. So a platform that helps people to create more applications. So that's the idea. We are not what we call that connectivity platform. We are not like analytics platform.
Right.
We complement each other. So we are developer friendly platform in the sense that we want to help people in collecting data, create their own applications.
Yes.
You might have your own AI engine built by you, but you need data to support your workload.
Yeah, I mean our platform can actually nurture all these developers' creativity as well to create their own solutions.
Yes. I think we don't limit to our own creativity. We allow people to harness, empower them.
Yep.
We make them, more powerful.
Yes. All right, Doctor. We have someone, Muhammad Azam Arifin. Thank you for joining us. So he's asking, Salam Doctor, in the case of Malaysia, can smart city applications be implemented without government agencies' intervention or initiative? Smart city applications.
Yeah. Traditionally, when we talk about smart cities, it's always talking about the city's authorities. So when we talk about city authority, we are talking about the local councils. Yeah. But I think a lot of times nowadays when we talk about smart cities, even at MDEC, for example, they define digital cities as compared to smart cities. So when we talk about digital cities, is the the industry, the company or the business within the city can build their own smart solutions. So a lot of applications might not depend on the local councils or even the government agencies like you mentioned, whether there is intervention or not. You can build your own solution, your app, for example, that can help the community. It doesn't require local council's approval.
Okay.
Yeah, you can have an app that for the buses, private taxis.
Okay.
For example, even Grab, for example, they don't depend so much on the government intervention. It's their own business. So, but they help the cities for transportation. You know, Airbnb, when they build for homestay and all that, they don't require the support from the government. So they build solutions that is privately owned by them, and we also can do that. But of course, there are certain things which need government intervention in terms of some regulatory or some policies. Certain applications require the authorities to intervene, giving you the right of way, giving you the license or the permit to operate. You know, for example, if you need infrastructure to build for your services, you require their intervention. You cannot build towers on your own. You need to lay a cable, you need their intervention.
Definitely.
So for example, if you have a service for here in Malaysia, for example, in Indonesia they have
What's that?
No, Grab apa?
Oh gosh, what is it? Gojek.
Gojek.
Yeah.
So they have Gojek. So they have Gojek not only for cars. They have Gojek also for
motorcycles. Right?
In Malaysia, we only have Grabs for cars, but not for motorcycles, because motorcycles have different regulatory. Here in Malaysia, you cannot carry passengers and having that ride sharing on a motorcycle. In cars, yes, possible. So there are certain things we need government intervention for changes in the. If not, we need to change the policies. Yeah, drone, for example, when they fly, there are certain areas that needs to fly. Certain areas cannot fly. Do you need a license for drone? So that is always having that kind of intervention or some initiative with the government.
So I
hope that answers to Azam's question. Yeah.
Okay. So is there any other questions from the viewers? So what would be your best celebration for World IoT Day, Doctor?
Best?
The ideal way of celebrating World IoT Day. What would be the best
I think the best thing I will keep for next week because.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Got it.
You know what? We'll be visiting, Osaka. So hopefully that Osaka trip, which is Osaka Expo 2025, which have more than 158 countries or pavilions will be there. And the idea for us is actually to find the right partners.
Yes.
So partnerships is very important for us. And in conjunction with the World IoT Day, talking about partnerships.
Yeah.
And this is where we like to see. And of course, we still invite people here, whoever listens to us, to join us on what we call the favorite partner network type partnerships. We are looking at hardware partners. We are looking at software partners, system integrators or solution providers, distributors, and also training partners.
Yeah.
If any one of you are here, and we are welcome to you to come on board our journey too. Yeah.
Just reach out to us. We'll be happy to be your partners.
Yes.
Yeah. Dr. Azam said thank you.
Most welcome.
Right. Okay. Well, I guess, Doctor, thank you so much for all the messages. It's totally powerful. So I guess to wrap it up just now, IoT Day is not just about technology. Like what you said, it's about ownership, collaboration, and also vision. Okay.
So I think exactly that's what we want, Azura. To all our viewers and our listeners, let's keep building and partnering. The idea is that in the IoT, once again, we like to have these partnerships, and we favorite are open to all of you.
Awesome. Once more, happy IoT Day to everybody. So thanks guys for tuning in to another episode of our Sembang Santai Favorite. I'll see you guys next time, and don't forget to follow us on social media. Take care everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.